But your freedom comes from God anyway. September 27th, the verdict of Robert Sylvester Kelly, manufacturer case number 19-CR-286. Robert Sylvester Kelly, known as R. Kelly, and the verdict came back guilty. It took 9 hours, 18 minutes, which was the time the jury took out of desperation. R. Kelly's case is in a federal courtroom, and the prosecutors never proved any federal offenses. Everyone's moving off of emotions. So I call Exhibit A, police reports. Exhibit B, rape kits. R. Kelly was employed by Sony Music. The music label promoted, facilitated, and established him as a playboy and a sex symbol. We ordered Sony to be a part of this case. We ordered Sony to release his music catalog, which is worth over $1.2 billion. You will not give R. Kelly the Sam Cooke treatment. And we are well aware that there are no more record stores. So masters equal income. Question, what do Sam Cooke, Michael Jackson, Prince, and R. Kelly got in common? Question, what is the difference between R. Kelly and Hugh Hefner? Why not Harvey Weinstein? Why not Marilyn Manson? Why not Roman Polanski? And why not Woody Allen? Now it is clear that Robert Sylvester Kelly case is systematic racism. Attorney Cannon proved in the court of law that Kelly girlfriends stuck around to live the lavish lifestyle and enjoy shopping sprees. Women came and went right out of Kel's front door. For example, Holly, she testified she came back 12 times, right on the stand. So, I'm tired of the mute R. Kelly, I'm tired of the Me Too, and any other groups that's focused on one black man, and that is R. Kelly. So why don't you go after Elvis Presley estate? My question, why didn't United States
Yeah, what's up? This your homeboy Ice Cube. You know what it is, the West Coast Warlord, the Grand Wizard. Don Mega is in the house. Now check this out. I'm inviting you to join the official Black People Social Network, WeGotUps.com. That's WeGotUps.com. 100% black owned, man. I see you here, boys. I see you. You out there doing it, man. And as we say in the Big 3 League, we got ups, baby. So WeGotUps.com. Check it out, man. You know what I mean? Obviously, you know, black people, we definitely need to socialize, get together, figure out this system we all going through. So, you know, WeGotUps.com promises to be that place. Like I said, black owned. Gotta love it. And, you know, willing to make sure that you guys make a social connection. So WeGotUps.com, you know, from your homeboy Ice Cube. Got to throw up the dub, you know, for that. You know what I'm saying? And hey man, official Black People Social Network. You know, I get it right. Don't worry about nothing. Just join, man. Join the official Black People Social Network. WeGotUps.com. WeGotUps.com, man. That's easy, man. We got ups, baby. We got ups. Your homeboy Ice Cube, and I'm out. Throwing up the dub for We Got Ups, man. Check it out.
What you gon' do now? Hope you're ready, cause I'm really about to put it down. Girl, you know that I will never disrespect you. We love tomorrow, but tonight I wanna spend you. That ass count, gotta make it last now. say go. There you go again, that voice is watch you make your girlfriend go. Come on, come on, come on. You've been waiting patiently, wondering when and where I be. After causing ruckus in the industry, making this so she can't sleep.
Man, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on, everybody here? What up, Dream Team? What up, everybody over on Facebook or over on We Got Ups? That's my home. We Got Ups. I'm streaming on Facebook, so I was told, right? Okay. Y'all know I don't like Facebook. My home is over We Got Ups. That's where I'm most active at. We Got Ups, YouTube, Getter, Telegram. Those are the platforms that I'm most active on. Patreon, Instagram. Those are the ones I like. I don't like Facebook. I hate Facebook. So I encourage, everybody to come over to We Got Ups. But look, this is just part one. Part one of the setup of R. Kelly through DanaJay's eyes, the lunch edition. We're going to talk about it. We're going to show some things. So sit back, relax. If you haven't been part of my show, I want to thank you. I want to welcome you. I encourage you to like, share, subscribe, where no drama exists, but only the truth resides. So, I've been watching some things. I've been putting some things together. I've been looking at what was really going on, and let's see what I come up with. Sit back, relax. This presentation gonna be great. Let's go.
As I said earlier, of course Mr. Kelly is disappointed. He was not anticipating this verdict because based on the evidence, why should he anticipate this verdict? When you go with a discovery, you saw witness after witnesses giving 3, 4, 5 different versions as to what they said happened here. The government cherry-picked the version that they thought would be a continuation of the narrative that was first put out by Cheryl Mack and Surviving R. Kelly. And they cherry-picked a version and ran with that version. They totally ignored the inconsistencies that all of these witnesses gave in their debriefing. They tried, and I guess they successfully did it, was to massage it. But it's a situation we're in. I don't know if I'm more disappointed in the juror's verdict or the government's action in this case. Thank you very much. I'm sure we'll be appealing. I'm sure that we're going to pursue his appellate rights, and hopefully the Second Circuit will agree with us and not endorse this conduct.
Well, Kanik said hopefully they will agree with us and not endorse this conduct. So I have to go here. The true setup of Robert Sylvester Kelly. Well, after the 2008 case, you've seen some things going on, and people was, really doing what they do, having their fun and, pressing their way, and everything was going back to the normal. Everything was going back to the normal. Now, going back to the normal means that Robert was back on his normal life. He was back doing shows. He was back touring. He was back doing what he do. Well, some people ain't like that. Some real high people that's now connected didn't like that. Why didn't they like it? Because if you notice, when they did shows together, or when Robert did anything with any of these people, you only notice people talking about who? Robert. If he jumped on a remix, people ain't want to hear what was going on. It was about Robert. If he brought out an album, whether it was minute, it still went platinum because you was worried about Robert. But there's one particular person, Jay-Z. I always wondered, how did you become so protected? So, this is just my opinion. This is not nobody's fact. It didn't come out of R. Kelly's camp. It came out the mouth and the mind of DanaJay. As I sat back and watched it all unfold. So, Jay-Z brought out some albums. They ain't do too good. Rob brought out some albums. They did perfect. And those albums were not Robert's best work. So I find it funny that now I was sent the photo of this right here. They look so happy together. They look like they were cool, but this was after the 2008 case. This was after the not guilty video. This was after the lawsuit. This picture was after the lawsuit. And they say pictures are worth 1,000 words. This picture is old. Very old. So it came after the lawsuit that Robert sued Jay-Z for $75 million. Yeah, that's my dryer going off. No, actually, that's my washing machine. I guess my washing machine wanted to get on my live on Friday and say, look, I'm done. But I feel like Levi today. I'm in my Levi bag. So this was after the $75 million lawsuit. But right after the best of both worlds, and I'm going to take that down, this was said.
He said, first of all, this is Madison Square Garden, right? I mean, come on. Come on, New York City. Come on, anybody know Madison Square Garden? No.
Let me just tell the people that was, a lot of people were there, but there are definitely people listening that wasn't there. What happened when R. Kelly came out during the show and said, I want to tell New York, I love y'all, but there's people.
You don't love New York.
He said there's
you
people.
Can't say that.
Let me tell you what happened.
I'm a little hyped.
I understand. I just want to keep everybody in the loop with what's happening. So he said, I just want to tell y'all I love New York, but there's people in the crowd that got guns on me. And so, did he say something like there's about to be a riot in here or something?
Yeah, whatever that was.
And it's not worth it.
It's foolery.
He dropped the mic and got off stage. About 5 minutes of straight black. No lights, no nothing.
So I'm in the back changing. I'm in the quick booth change. I'm going to give you the background.
Yeah,
I'm in the quick booth changing. And I'm feeling like, again, I mean, come on.
How'd you get word that did you hear him saying this? Or did you know he was going to break out?
Yeah, I heard. It was when we do the show, it has a rhythm. So I'm like, wait a minute. Like, when you feel like for a second the music didn't drop, I'm like, what's going on? I asked the guy, Randy Bazzelli, what's happening? And I look through the thing and I see him in the front of the stage, but I can't hear what he's saying. I thought he was going for the lights move again. My lights is messed up again, I thought he was going for that move again. I didn't know he said something as ridiculous as someone in the crowd is pointing a gun at him. That's Madison Square Garden. That's a world class. I mean, they're tough in the garden. You can't do what you want in the garden. Yeah. It's tough. It's tough.
So I have a question, Jay-Z. If it's tough in the garden, right? And you got a person that's from Chicago, and your homeboy Ty have him and his friends pointing lasers at R. Kelly, the first thing you're going to think, that's a gun. Because when you associate a laser being attached to what, Jay-Z? A gun. Make it make sense. You have failed to address the fact that it was your homeboy that sabotaged the Best of Both Worlds tour. So with that being said, how was he able to obtain a $75 million lawsuit? And it wasn't like it was something like a default, because it wasn't a default. So with that being said, we gonna go. I'm gonna dance a little bit with this. So with that being said, come on, man, Jesus, hold on. You're live on the DanaJay show. How can I help you?
Yes, I was calling in to ask DanaJay a question.
Okay, this is DanaJay, but I wasn't taking call at the time. But go ahead with your question.
Oh no, you had it up on your screen. I'm watching
Right.
it live. So yeah.
Right. But what is your question?
My question is, what happened to Levi? All of his videos have been removed from YouTube, and I was kind of puzzled by that.
Now, Levi's still around. Levi, matter of fact, me and Levi just went live the other night.
No, go to his YouTube page. All the videos are gone.
Yeah, I know what's going on. But he's still around. Trust me.
But what's going on? I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
You gotta ask him, but I can't tell what's going on. Just know that it's nothing bad.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So how can I talk to DanaJay then? I called in. He's talking to somebody on the show. Why I can't talk?
I'm DanaJay right here. You talking to me right now?
Well, how the hell I'm talking to you when you live? It don't make sense.
Easy, because you calling me and I'm on my live, and you called the show line and I'm talking.
But you also talking to somebody else.
No, I'm not. I'm talking to you, but I'm answering all your questions. You're live.
Oh God, I got to be. You know what? Oh my goodness. Shit.
But I said you're live with DanaJay.
Okay, I'll be 54 next month.
Yes, ma'am.
That shit up to old age.
Yes, ma'am.
But, okay, this is the thing. This is what do not laugh. Hey, look, respect your elders now. Come on, man. But this is the thing, Dana. Oh, let me turn it. I don't want to hear myself. Let me mute that. Yeah, I want to mute. I don't want to hear. But this is the thing, because I've been researching this. Now, follow me with this. From a legal perspective, I do think that we should really look at when the election time comes up in November, we should start lobbying our politicians to make these laws consistent. Why is it that you can be tried as an adult at the age of 16? However, you have to be 21 to be deemed legal to drink. But at 16, they can try you as an adult if you commit certain crimes under federal and state laws. And then it's kind of really puzzling at this underage, because my grandmother raised me, and my grandmother got married at a very early age in Arkansas. It was a part of the culture. I'm black, part Indian, and it was a part of their culture. I mean, some of them got married at 12. My mother had me at the age of 16, and it was by a man who was 18. So you trying to say that my father, who I don't know, has committed a crime? I mean, what's your view on that?
This what I'm gonna say. First, I'm gonna ask you a question. Then I'm gonna answer that. What is your name?
My name is Katrina.
Okay. How you doing, Miss Katrina? All right. First thing I'm gonna say: have your dad committed a crime? And that time, no. And this time, yes, he's committed the Mann Act. However, I agree with you with the laws need to be changed. But what I want you to do, I want you to sit back and watch the rest of this presentation. And after the presentation that I put out, then call back in. I'm quite sure I'm going to answer all of your questions.
Okay, I sure will, because that's been very puzzling to me. I mean, I grew up in the South, and the South, I mean, they married very, very, very young.
Okay.
I mean, man looked for a good young woman so he can take care and bear children while he got out and he made the money. That was just the thing to do in the South.
Okay.
Southern tradition.
Right.
But I'm going to watch the show. But thank you for taking my call. And sorry about the confusion. I apologize.
Oh, no problem. Anytime.
Okay, bye.
All right. Shout out to Miss Katrina for calling in. All right. So, with that being said, I said I'm going to dance around a little bit. And I'm going to take y'all back to 2004. Because Robert first got charged in 2006. He got picked up at Disney World and extradited to Chicago. I told y'all that a while back. So, I want y'all to listen to what Robert had to say when he was out on bond. Okay? Check it out.
He's a phenomenon in the music industry. R. Kelly, as famous to his generation as the Beatles were to theirs. But the man who sold 30 million records, earned 3 Grammys, and topped the music charts all summer is shadowed by the most shameful criminal charges. 14 counts of child pornography stemming from that infamous sex tape,
What up, bro?
which prosecutors say he stars. But is there something more to the story? Here's Jay Shadler with an exclusive interview.
These chocolate covered strawberries, love so sweet, you're my chocolate factory.
R. Kelly is a one-man odd couple, selling both love and lust to a catchy groove. He's a brilliant musician and self-proclaimed Christian who penned one of the great anthems of his generation.
I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day.
But he's also the author of Bump and Grind and a defendant in a criminal case charging him with child pornography. Kelly has denied the charges and is awaiting trial.
If it's early in the morning, we will be bumping and grinding.
Man, this is simple, man. You know, I'm a good person, man. I love people. People need to understand that R. Kelly is not who they think, but it's who I know. You know, I'm not perfect. I'm not some Jesus that people should worship, but I am not no demon. I'm no devil. I'm no criminal.
Do you consider yourself conflicted at all with these two personas, this incredibly sexual presence on stage, and this desire to be an upright Christian man? That's quite a cavern you're trying to straddle.
Well, being a Christian doesn't necessarily mean you're this upright person. Being a Christian is someone who's repented for their sins and said, God forgive me.
Sure.
And when you say it today doesn't mean you can't say it tomorrow. And that's why God is who he is.
But that can get to be an easy way out after a while, because all you're saying is, hey, forgive me again.
Well, that's not all
See,
you're
the
saying.
devil
You
be-
continue to pray, you continue to...
See, the devil won't act stupid. But I bought, ooh, he got
like 600
powerful.
pounds, you know, that you got a long way to go.
Feel it, I'm the world's greatest.
Kelly's mix of gospel and bordello has deep roots in rhythm and blues, but he's given it his own urban spin.
I'm about to take my key and stick it in the ignition, so give me that.
He was really one of the first R&B artists to be able to compete in the world of hip-hop, to be able to be as cool as the rappers, as tough as the rappers, as interesting as the rappers.
Khalifa Sane is a music critic with the New York Times.
I think when you listen to R. Kelly's music over and over again, one of the things you do hear is obsession and this idea of, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I kind of really want to. You know, as he sings, my mind's telling me no, but my body is telling me yeah.
Robert Kelly was born on the south side of Chicago, abandoned by his father and raised by a single mom. Joanne Kelly died in 1993, just after her son's first record hit the charts. But she is undeniably alive in his memory.
And
Hey, Nick.
I'd go to McDonald's almost every morning. She'd fix a cup of coffee, she'd wear this cheap lipstick, she'd leave this red lipstick ring around my cup, and I'd turn that around and drink from that part, taste lipstick and coffee at the same time, because if I could, I would have married my mom. But, you know, she turned me down, and it wasn't happening, so I accepted that. But those are the things that my mother and I would share.
When Kelly was a young boy, he loved basketball and music. And by the time he was 8, he and his mom were singing songs for loose change on the old L, Chicago's famed commuter rails. What are some of your first musical memories, Robert?
Slowing up the record, putting a nickel on a needle, and my mom would have me studying Stevie Wonder, you know, a riff.
Wait a minute, you put the nickel on the needle to slow down the record.
So the runs could go really slow, and then you can learn them, and then you learn them and you get it down pat.
With his mom's help, he used that old nickel trick to learn Stevie Wonder's Jammin'.
She said, once you learn this jamming, this little riff right here, you know, you can learn anything. And there's a part that goes in his song, it's the peak of the song, and it goes, oh, bet you someone approached you yesterday to tell you that you would be jamming. You would not believe it because you never thought that you would be jamming. And it's really fast, the way Stevie does it. So once I got that, I was like, oh, man.
In 1984, Kelly won his first talent contest, but perhaps more importantly, got his first intoxicating dose of adulation.
And then when I opened my mouth, oh, so long for this night I prayed. As soon as I said that, the crowd went up. You know, high school kids, it's like, if you got a little bit of talent to them, it's like, wow. Girls was screaming, guys was woo, woo, woo. And I won, you know, and right there was like Peter Pan being bit by the spider, you know, he became Spider-Man. So I was like, wow, I don't get this kind of love on the basketball court. I gotta be honest with myself, so.
By the early
Love you,
90s,
Nick.
word of Kelly's remarkable talents had reached music executives in New York, and his career took off.
See, I know there's somebody breaking out the champagne.
Not only was he winning awards and writing his own hits,
Never thought that love could be so kind.
but mainstream artists like Celine Dion were vying for his golden touch as a record producer. In 1994, he fell in love with an aspiring singer named Aaliyah.
I don't mean to be bold, but I gotta let it.
Now watch this. Watch how they try to spin this. Look at how they trying to spin it. He fell in love since when? Now watch this. Here come the spin job.
You know, Leah's got a thing for you, and I can't let go.
But there was a problem. Kelly was 27 and Aaliyah was 15. Their marriage certificate falsely shows her age as 18.
If you pay attention to the marriage certificate, that's not the real certificate. Play it again.
But I gotta let you know, Leah's got a thing for you, and I can't let go.
But there was a problem. Kelly was 27 and Aaliyah was 15. Their marriage certificate.
Pay attention to the marriage certificate. It's supposed to have 3 signatures on it. You only see 1 from the pastor. If this was a real marriage certificate, why 3 signatures are not on there? Can you? Yeah, Nikki, I'm going to do that in part 2. But you see this marriage certificate, right? Was signed by David Orr. Right? But there's no I'm sorry, I'm wrong. There's supposed to be 3 signatures plus the county clerk. David Orr's the county clerk. But you don't see the pastor signature, Aaliyah's signature, or Robert's signature on it. This was given to the Source magazine or the Vibe. It was one of them 2. It was given to the magazine when Robert cut Barry Hankerson off. So let's listen to the spin job and what they say.
It falsely shows her age as 18. You loved her?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you uncomfortable talking about her?
Not really uncomfortable, but just very respectful.
That part of the story is of interest because first indication, that Robert Kelly might be interested in very young women. That's why
Well, it
that's of
depends on
interest.
who's interested in that story.
Of course, a lot of people were interested in that story, especially when word broke that the two had secretly married.
You tried to hide that at some point. That you didn't get married, but you
No.
did, right?
I vowed that I would not even discuss any of the past, any negative things about Aaliyah. So my memories of Aaliyah.
But
is
that's not a
very
negative
talented
thing,
girl.
though, that you loved her, is it?
Oh, I already said I loved her.
In 2001, Aaliyah was killed in a plane crash. Her funeral procession included a horse-drawn carriage and a white coffin. Even though Aaliyah and Kelly's marriage had been annulled years earlier by her parents, her death rekindled questions about Kelly's possible relationships with...
Time out. Listen to what he said. If the marriage was annulled years earlier and before her death, that means she would have been 20, because she died at 21. So she would have been 20, 19, somewhere around there. So that means she could have did it herself, right? That means that it was a beef between her dad, Miss Diane, and Barry Hankerson. So everything that Jomo has been saying has checked out. That Robert never married Aaliyah on no sexual type tip. It was strictly for the label. It was a publicity stunt for the label, to be exact. So, hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Vibe. Okay. Let's see y'all questions real quick. Barry Hankerson was scorned and set Rob TF up. Yep. And that's the favor. Pastor also said Aaliyah's hair was over her eyes. Aaliyah wasn't wearing her hair over her eyes until 1 in a million. Facts, Miss Cece. Facts. That certificate was in Vibe. Yep. Let's keep our brother Kales lifted in prayer. Aaliyah was 22 when she died. Okay, so that means that she could have annulled her. She could have annulled her own certificate, right? Make it make sense. If it was really a certificate. What's up, my brother? Hey, what's up, Tone? They were never married. Facts. She did that. This, yep. Barry getting that 12 or 18% for the remainder. No, Nikki Purple. Barry was getting 34%. Hey, Crook ass Barry Hankerson. Okay, very interesting. Yeah, but let's finish.
Teenage girls.
Do you think that it is immoral for an older man to have sex with an underage girl?
Rephrase the question.
For an older man to have sex with an underage girl, someone under 17, do you view that as an immoral thing, if they're in love?
If they're in love, I really can't be the judge of that.
This is a girl of my fantasy.
But judging R. Kelly became a pastime in Chicago as rumors of his fascination with underage girls continued to spread.
When this controversy started, people who'd been following R. Kelly's career weren't saying, I never would have expected R. Kelly. I mean, there was some notion that this wasn't a complete surprise. And again, some people chose to believe it, some people chose to ignore it.
But the rumors could no longer be ignored after this videotape surfaced. The video...
Pay attention. Pay attention. Pay attention. Hey, Mama Mary, pay attention.
Tape allegedly shows Kelly having sex with a 14-year-old girl and is considered to be the centerpiece in a criminal case in which Kelly is charged with 14 counts of child pornography.
Now watch this. I'm going to take it back a little bit.
People who'd been following R. Kelly's career weren't saying, I never would have expected R. Kelly. I mean, there was some notion that this wasn't a complete surprise. And again, some people chose to believe it, some people chose to ignore it.
But the rumors could no longer be ignored.
Stop. That is the best view you can get of this video footage, right? Now, let's be honest. Can you 100% say that this is R. Kelly? Can you 100% say that this is R. Kelly? And this is what they showed in court. Can you 100% say that this is R. Kelly? Hey, Ruthie. Because for sure this is Damon Pryor. What they're going off of is build and similarity and likeness. So can you 100% say that this is R. Kelly? If you cannot, shut the hell up.
After this videotape surfaced,
there's no way you can tell.
Actually shows Kelly having sex with a 14-year-old girl and is considered to be the centerpiece in a criminal case in which Kelly is charged with 14 counts of child pornography.
Well, last count I had, I think, was maybe 6 or 7 lawsuits filed by various women against you.
When there's blood in the water, here comes the shocks.
If a concert hall can be acoustically tuned, if a 60,000
An interview with R. Kelly, and he said, "Oh, I've seen him on television. I like that music." Pause, and then he said, "Something about child pornography with that guy."
I gotta look at that like I look at everything else. When people say things about you, when people down you, which I've been down for my lyrics in this business.
Tickling and teasing, doing that little dance. Girl, you make me lay you down and give it to you one more game.
Sexual movements on stage.
Sure.
I've been down for a lot of stuff. And when you become famous, unfortunately, life becomes a stage. You know, and so you have to be this perfect person, which I can't do it.
Of course, the issues shadowing Mr. Kelly are not about perfection, but criminality. In February of 2002, a reporter from the Chicago Sun-Times received an anonymous phone call directing him to go to his mailbox.
Time out. First he said he got an anonymous tape. Now, this is what the government and nobody else want to show you. He got an anonymous phone call first. And when I said this, didn't they say in Team Truth that Dana was lying? Jim Darriagas never got a phone call. He got a package. No. I said it from day one. He got an anonymous phone call. The reason why Jim Darriagas was mad at Robert, not because Robert fired him because Darriagas was a manager. No. Jim Darriagas wanted to be a head chief editor for Rolling Stone. And Robert told him he can put him in, I guess he can put him in to meet the owner of the Rolling Stone magazine. And then Jim Darriagas did some stuff behind Rob's back. Rob found out, Rob cut him off, and Jim Darriagas have been mad ever since. Let's finish.
In it was a 27-minute videotape allegedly showing Kelly having sex with a 14-year-old girl.
Here's the video again.
The actual identities of the man and girl on the tape are still a matter of dispute. The state of Illinois was confident enough in this piece of evidence to charge Kelly in the spring of 2002 with child pornography.
Stop! If Jim Darriagas seen the video as he say, and he's 100% sure that that's R. Kelly, why Jim Darriagas is not locked up for child pornography? The statute on child pornography is if anybody views anything sexually with a minor or a child, that is considered child pornography. So let's listen to what this editor said again.
In February of 2002, a reporter from the Chicago Sun-Times received an anonymous phone call directing him to go to his mailbox. In it was a 27-minute videotape allegedly showing Kelly having sex with a 14-year-old girl. Though the actual identities of the man and girl on the tape are still a matter of dispute, the state of Illinois was confident enough in this piece of evidence to charge Kelly in the spring of 2002 with child pornography.
The Honorable County Judge Carla Fleming, right presiding, be seated. Court is now called to order.
At the time of the indictment, Kelly was at his second home in Davenport, Florida, near Orlando.
Ain't that what I just told y'all?
Where he was arrested, spent a night in a Florida jail, and was then returned to Illinois.
Ain't that what I told y'all?
Arriving back in Chicago.
Pay attention to his hair. Pay attention to his hair. The person on the sex tape, half the hair was out and half the hair was neatly done. Pay attention, y'all.
Kelly went straight to the Cook County Criminal Court to turn.
And if you look at it, Rob's hair's not long enough to be half done and then half hanging out. D. White said the nose looked different. Facts. Oh, I'm about to show you.
Himself in. But even before he got to the front door, he was abruptly pulled aside, arrested again, and read his rights.
You understand that anything you say...
Davenport, Florida, near Orlando, where he was arrested, spent a night in a Florida jail, and was then returned to Illinois. Arriving back in Chicago, Kelly went straight to the Cook County Criminal Court to turn himself in. But even before he got to the front door, he was abruptly pulled aside, arrested again, and read his rights.
You understand that anything you say can and may be used against you.
He knows that I'm his lawyer. He's not going to make any statements.
You understand that you have the right to talk to an attorney before we ask you any questions. You understand that?
Hey,
Within hours, the three-time Grammy Award winner had 21 counts of child pornography charges on his resume. He pled not guilty to all of them.
I'm just looking forward to my day in court.
Significantly, he could not be charged with statutory rape because the young girl the police believe is in the video has repeatedly denied that it's her. What's more, although the state of Florida also filed child pornography charges against Kelly, those charges have all been dismissed, and the Illinois charges have since been narrowed to 14 counts.
What up, baby?
Still, a conviction on any one count could put R. Kelly in prison for at least 6 years. If he's convicted on all counts, the maximum would be 51 years. In addition, there's been a handful of civil lawsuits by women against Kelly.
You've settled some of these lawsuits out of court, right?
Can't talk about it.
Even the ones that are not in trial anymore,
I can't
not
talk
in
about
litigation?
anything pertaining to me and lawsuits and things like that.
Let me ask you a question just more broadly then. The last count I had, I think, was maybe 6 or 7 lawsuits filed by various women against you. A shred of truth in any of them, as far as you're concerned? Any of the allegations?
The only thing I can say about that is the shocks. When there's blood in the water, here comes the shocks.
And I'm going to say this. For all of y'all people that's running around talking about R. Kelly snitching, that piece right there should tell you. He's not that type of person. He's telling on this and telling on that. Y'all some dirty, low-right people. To even try to put that on that man. That jacket don't fit him. Let's finish.
Kelly says the lawsuits are about money and fantasies. People who want his money and people who believe his music fantasies.
There's so much that people don't know about Robert. They don't know Robert. They see this guy popping crystal in a video.
And you can tell he was crying.
Diamonds everywhere. You got women around him every day, 24 hours a day. But when you do it on a video and it's ran 20 million times a day, all day long, people, they're forced to have this impression of you. And you can't blame them.
Do you feel like you're paying a price for this persona that you created, this image that you created?
Hell, yes.
Hell yes was going to be the answer.
Yeah, it was. I'm trying to contain myself.
I know you are.
I created my music and I did videos, and the video has to make sense. If it's a bump and grind video, then it's going to be a bump and grind song. If it's an I Believe I Can Fly song,
I believe I can fly.
is going to be somewhere in the cornfield and pretty beautiful egos and things like that. I think people should think the same thing when they go to the movies and they see Arnold Schwarzenegger cut somebody's head off or chop somebody's head off or shoot somebody 20 times a check. That's a movie. It's entertainment. I entertain it. That doesn't mean he's going to come out of the movie and go do that to somebody. This all entertainment.
But with all respect, I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger is not charged with child pornography.
But he could be, and he could be charged with anything. It still doesn't matter.
I'm that star up in the sky. I'm that mountain peak up high. Hey, I made it. I'm the world's greatest.
Curiously, all of the allegations and lawsuits have not dented Mr. Kelly's popularity. He's still making hit songs, still selling millions of records. But even R. Kelly would be the first to admit that his is a cautionary tale about success that arrives too early and wisdom a little too late. As we ended the interview, I played him a song he'd written about the old days, back in his Chicago neighborhood, before his mom died, and before his image was born.
We do, now I'm just missing you. How I wish that I could hold you now. I wish that I could touch you now. I wish that I could talk to you, be with you somehow. I know.
Wow. So now y'all got a little piece of what Robert mindset was in 2004. Which brings me hyperspeed to Robert now. Hyperspeed Robert now. Right here. This is 2008. Okay. Which brings me to, Dana, why did you mention Jay-Z? The reason why I mentioned Sean Carter was because this right here. From 2008 on, it's been a lot of bull sugar honey iced tea going on. And the Not Guilty thing, the Not Guilty song, people were thinking Jay-Z was talking about when a girl said that he busted in the head at a nightclub. Well, Robert was talking about the trial in 2008. But could Jay-Z have been talking about this right here? And see, and a lot of people are saying Robert is snitching because Robert's name is tied into this. But if you really pay attention to everybody in here, every name that's in here that's being mentioned as a defendant, either Jeff Epstein has something to do with him, Harvey Weinstein was a friend of him, or Sean Carter did an album and was cool with him. We all know Kanye, number 13, ain't doing no stuff like that. But because Kanye called Jay-Z his brother, and this lady, Charlene Latham, hey, she got everybody. But pay close attention. Nobody knows about Milton Brown except for Jay-Z. Nobody knows about Milton Brown except for Jay-Z and Sony. Now, let's make this make sense. Jay-Z don't know a Ghislaine Maxwell. Robert Kelly don't know a Ghislaine Maxwell. But Jay-Z knows Ghislaine Maxwell very well. So, the question that I have is, why, when Sean Carter is in this indictment, and all of this indictment is about defendants 1 through 3, why everything you see in here have been lifted from Jay-Z and slammed on Robert. Look, criminal enterprise of defendants 1 through 3. Well, they say Robert had a criminal enterprise, but you clearly see that Jay-Z is part of a criminal enterprise. They clearly said corporations providing support to the criminal enterprise. Well, we all know Sony also supported Jay-Z, but they supported Robert. But who else would know that unless Jay-Z ain't put that out to the detectives or whatever? And I'm going to read it. Corporate defendants named or identified as those are accused of aiding and abetting. That means being close to the person, knowing a person, or pretty much hiding the person's secrets. And the facilitation of the unlawful surveillance, spying, stalking, and repeated drugging, abducting, hostage taking, and kidnapping for the criminal intent of sexual assault, abuse, extortion, and exploitation in the same capacity as any person named as defendant and in their capacity as corporations provided support to the criminal enterprise of the defendants 1 through 3 as corporate payers, facilitators, conspirators, and including by providing money laundering services to route payments to the parties of this large-scale criminal enterprise of criminal activity targeting the plaintiffs. That right there, question. That's a criminal case in Southern District of New York. Why nobody ain't show them blocking Jay-Z up? Harvey Weinstein is already in a boot camp. The Jeff Epstein that we know, the name is dead, but the person is somewhere in secret hiding. But the trust is still there. That's why, and you haven't seen a burial. You haven't seen none of his insurance money taken out. No insurance policies taken out on him. That's why you haven't seen it, because he's not dead. The name Jeff Epstein is gone. But the person is somewhere in hiding. Now, the point that I'm making to people is everything that you've seen on Jay-Z on this one, and this been sealed since 2020. Everything you've seen on that, why we haven't seen the same exploited on Jay-Z? Could it be you're a gatekeeper, and if you're a gatekeeper, you're only allowed to have so much? But I'm gonna give y'all another point. Could it be that the person they want to be the face of pedophilia is the person that Sony created the persona of to be the sex god? Everybody know Jay-Z ain't no sex god, so why make him the face of pedophilia? Let's make this make sense. I believe that too, Mr. Trainer. Let's make that make sense. We know Jay-Z ain't a sex god. So you ain't gonna make no babies off of Jay-Z. But you gonna make babies off of who? Robert. A lot of us that's viewing this right now are here off of Robert music. Or your kids, or your grandkids, or your great-grandkids are going to be here off of Robert. So you got to look at the systematic takedown. But wait, I ain't finished. I ain't nowhere near finished. I told y'all this is going to be a long situation. I said I believe Greenberg. I believe Greenberg really had good intentions. But I also believe that Greenberg is to the highest bidder. So if Robert assets are done, Greenberg came out and said Robert going to be stuck to a public defender because ain't no money left. But when I made my last video, I had a talk with Greenberg. And Greenberg made it seem like he's so into Robert and this and this and this. I immediately went and prayed. Because I said, I don't want to get in nothing that's above my waters, nothing above my head. And 2 days later, this come out. I am fucking stunned. I got this last night and could not sleep. I'm trying to figure out and wrap my hand around the bullshit. This live is not going to be monetized because I done played some stuff. I done said some things and let's see what come out. Let's see what came out. That's all I can say. Defending R. Kelly, how his legal team fell apart. How do you defend R. Kelly? For the disgraced singer's lawyers, it has been easy. Now his attorneys, who were pushed out of the case months before the trial, are blaming the others for the loss. How embarrassing could this be? Let's take a look. Hold on. Let's take a look. On September 28th, shortly after a jury found R. Kelly guilty of all 9 charges brought against him, including sex trafficking, racketeering, and sexual exploitation of a child, Deverick Cannick, a member of the disgraced R&B singer's legal team, stood before TV cameras and supporters outside the courthouse and said that an appeal was on its way. However, if Kelly's legal team plans to file a successful appeal while managing upcoming trials in Illinois and Minnesota, it will first need to solve its own problems of infighting and inexperience that have plagued it for the past 2 years. In January 2019, Lifetime's bombshell documentary, Surviving R. Kelly, quickly turned mainstream opinion of Kelly from raunchy singer to warped predator. In the weeks following, I'm going to stop right there for a second. For anybody that says Surviving R. Kelly ain't had nothing to do with this trial, they are fucking stupid. Now, in weeks following, he was dropped from his label, RCA Records. His music was largely pulled from radio and streaming services, official playlists. And an Australian tour announcement was revoked within hours due to backlash. Weeks later, he was charged with aggravated sexual abuse in Chicago, and in July 2019 was slapped with a federal indictment in New York stemming from racketeering charges. Look who we have here. I told y'all the devil always shows her work. Tamara Simmons. She said R. Kelly verdict ends 30-year journey of shouting into the wind, say surviving producers. This is Tamara Simmons, so I got a question, Tamara Simmons. And I know you watch my channel quite often, but you know what I say, hands up, peace down. Gotcha. At the end of the day, here's the question that I have for you, Tamara Simmons. You was the manager for the Black Panties tour. Where was these feelings when you was making money off of R. Kelly on the tour? Let's make this make sense. So now it makes sense how Ashanti knew that Robert was at CIAA, because you dropped the dime. Now, more commonly reserved for organized crime figures like the late Whitty Bulger and John Gotti to prosecute Ponzi schemes and money laundering, the racketeer influence and corrupt organizations, the RICO statute, enabled federal prosecutors to group together Kelly's more recent alleged crimes with allegations that were 2 decades old. It was a novel case, and Kelly's defense team knew it. Stop right there. Let's go back up. Let's read it again. To prosecute Ponzi schemes and money laundering. The Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations statute enabled federal prosecutors to group Kelly together. Kelly's more recent alleged crimes with allegations that were 2 decades old. It was a novel case, and Kelly's defense team knew it. So I got a question. When did they ever prove RICO on R. Kelly? But now y'all got the wrong person pissed off. Because now I'm about to prove RICO on the federal government. Now, let's read it again. And I want y'all, and I'm doing this because I want y'all to put it in y'all head. Because when I go in on the federal government, y'all gonna know. The Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations RICO statute enabled federal prosecutors to group together Kelly's more recent alleged crimes with allegations. So that means you are grouping crimes and allegations together, right? So here's the question. When was a crime ever committed? Because when I last looked at Robert Kelly's case, and I looked at his rap sheet before the screw job in New York, R. Kelly ain't never been charged with, he ain't never been found guilty on nothing. So what crimes are you talking about? And then you put crimes with allegations. That means a lie. Because you can't say a crime and then an allegation. And when you mix it together, it's a lie. Because how can you say I committed a crime, but then you're going to put allegations with it? That's a lie. Okay. It was a novel case and Kelly's defense team knew it. The idea of a musician-run sex trafficking ring and the use of racketeering laws in this manner is an aberration. Kelly's lawyer Thomas Fernella told Billboard in an emailed statement after the guilty verdict, the RICO enterprise was based on nothing more than a series of independent relationships and events the government patched together like different types of fabrics and passed it off as silk. When the pandemic ground the courts to a halt, Kelly spent over 2 years behind bars awaiting trial. While his legal team failed to coalesce and eventually splintered 2 months before the New York's trial, August 18th start date, the artist's two led Chicago-based attorneys Steve Greenberg and Michael Lennon exited the case. The lawyers say they quit due to infighting and the uncooperative dynamics of the defense team. Their former counsel, attorney Nicole Blank-Becker, who remains on Kelly's legal team, recounts a different scenario. She says the two lawyers were fired by Kelly due to Greenberg's lies, although court records suggest otherwise. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to go ahead. Without me getting in the middle, I'm going to just say this. Dana phone better not ever get subpoenaed. Because the truth will come out of why Robert let Steve Greenberg and everybody else go. I don't know what happened, but I know what happened. I'm going to leave it at that. And what's being put out here is not the truth. Only thing I will say is what Nicole is saying. There got to be some truth behind some type of storm. And I'm going to leave it at that. There's got to be some truth behind some type of storm. Now, was it infighting? I'm not going to answer that. But it's a lot of jealousy going on. And like I said, this is not about me. This is not about none of the lawyers. This is about Robert. And everybody should be able to come together to help Robert. After Robert is home, Then everybody can go back and doing whatever the hell they want to do. That's all I'm saying. I've told Greenberg that. I told everybody that talked to me that across the board. Greenberg said he quit because of some infighting. That's not why he quit. He got fired because of the infighting and the lies. But there shouldn't be no lies. There shouldn't be no infighting. That's all I'm saying. There shouldn't be no lies. There shouldn't be no infighting. It should not be about them. And I don't care how nobody care about it or like it. Should nobody be arguing or beefing when Robert is the one that's suffering? I'm not signing no petition. I urge y'all not to. But y'all grown. Y'all gonna do what y'all want to do. Now when stuff start coming up on y'all credit, look, I'm gonna put it like this. I went through the stuff so that way y'all won't have to, and y'all still choose to go through it. That's on y'all. That's how I put it. So, despite this alleged clean sweep, the remaining defense team performance during the trial was disastrous. According to sources close to the case, power struggles between lawyers, fed, the sources say, by Kelly's concern with how he looked to the public, shifted the defense strategy away from disproving racketeering allegations and toward breaking down victim abuse claims from victims. So now you understanding where people are getting stories at on YouTube. Discord among the defense. 48 hours before opening arguments, Becker sat in her Brooklyn hotel room, barefaced and visibly exhausted. Behind her sat two beds, one for sleeping and the other doubling as a desk, covered in files, pens, highlighters, sticky notes, and binders. It's been effing crazy, she says, of working for Kelly. I guess it might be every lawyer's dream, but it's also insanity. Becker joined Kelly's team in March 2019 despite having only 3 years experience trying state cases as a criminal defense attorney. She had spent 16 years prior as a prosecutor in Michigan advocating for victims of sexual assault, but grew skeptical while working as the head of Macomb County Sex Crimes Unit there. We would deny more warrants than we would sign, she says. There's so much bull sugar honey iced tea out there. Becker's introduction to Kelly's team came at the recommendation of disgraced former Detroit judge Vonda Evans. Wow. So now y'all trying to disgrace all colored people. Who knew the singer. When the judge called me, and she's like, with your history as a sex prosecutor, this is perfect for you. I was laughing at her, says Becker. Even when I went, I still thought it was a joke. But there was a part of me that thought, if I don't go and see if this is real, that they really want to talk to me, how will I ever know? After meeting Kelly, Becker, who grew up with his music, says, I was fortunate enough to truly see with my own eyes the other side of things. Becker's new teammates included the Chicago attorneys Greenberg and Lennon, who have tried dozens of federal cases and began representing Kelly in 2018 to sue the people who stole all Kelly's money, says Greenberg. Stop. Red flag. Becker's new teammates, including the Chicago attorneys Greenberg and Lennon, who have tried dozens of federal cases. If they tried dozens of federal cases, why didn't it say they won or they lost? that will damage the credibility of the story that I am presenting, that I guess that they have wrote. So therefore, you leave that part out, which means you got to go do some investigation. Which now we know that Greenberg was part of the Scott Peterson trial, and everybody said that Greenberg sucked on that trial. I don't know. That's what people say. I don't have an opinion because I don't know. I just know Scott Peterson went to jail. And I don't know about the other 11 federal cases. That's all I can say. So, before joining Kelly's team, Greenberg's most notable client was Drew Peterson. Okay, it's not Scott Peterson, Drew Peterson, I'm sorry. A retired police sergeant convicted of murdering his third wife after the disappearance of his fourth. Whoa, what? While media reports claim Greenberg was fired by Peterson for poor performance, Greenberg says this was a lie. Another one of the case attorneys, Joe Brodsky, fed to the media and showed billboard documentation of work he performed after those reports came out. Go listen to my interview with Joe. One of the case other attorneys, Brodsky, wound up suspended for 2 years due to his aggressive tactics and relentless vindictiveness. Greenberg was also deemed ineffective counsel by a Cook County judge. Oh my God. Greenberg was also deemed ineffective counsel by a Cook County judge in a 2005 murder case, which led to a new trial and the defendant Albert DeMongola's conviction being downgraded from murder to aggravated battery. Greenberg is now representing DeMongola's nephew in a terrorism case and says he has a tremendous relationship with the family. I'm going to give you a point that just came to my mind. If Greenberg was deemed ineffective counsel by a Cook County judge in 2005 murder case, right, which led to a new trial, and the defendant Albert DeMongola's conviction being downgraded from murder to aggravated battery. If that's the case, I wonder if Greenberg knew that he wasn't going to stand a chance in New York, so he got off there so that way they couldn't deem him as ineffective counsel in the federal in New York. I'm just saying, that's just hypothetically. I'm not saying that's what his thoughts were, but it just piques my attention. Things that make you go, You feel me? Things that make you go, East Coast attorneys Doug Anton, a sports and entertainment lawyer, and Fernella, a New York criminal defense attorney, brought in by Anton, as I said, were also on the case. Anton, who left the legal team before Greenberg and Leonard's departure, could not be reached for comment. Smart. According to Greenberg and Leonard, conflict arose early on between attorneys over who would steer the case and the division of labor. It would make sense, based upon our experience of handling collectively more than 100 federal criminal cases, that we would row the boat, says Leonard, for good or for bad. We simply refused to dole out responsibilities in a manner that wasn't consistent with people's level of experience. Factions formed among the lawyers and the infighting escalated. For example, Greenberg says argument broke out over cross-examination strategy. He claims Becker and Fernella were intent on slut-shaming. Becker, on the other hand, says she was ready for the truth to get out there in order to clear Kelly's name. When it came to decide which attorney would deliver the opening statement, a source says Nicole petitioned Kelly for the opportunity. Nicole was telling him that only I can tell your story. I need to do the opening. Robert, I know you so well. says the source, who adds, he's not sophisticated. He's not very smart. So he'll listen to these people. What? Kelly and Becker had grown close too, according to a source close to the case. Becker insisted she be given time to talk to Kelly about non-case related matters. These conversations about Kelly's personal and business matters were said to take place during time allotted to prepare for trial. Greenberg, who initially was supposed to deliver the opening argument, says he and Kelly never had a single disagreement. That's a lie. That's a lie. Except that he thought Becker should do the opening statement and we didn't. Greenberg says he tried to remain realistic with Kelly when it came to the defense strategy, but Becker, who he says spent more time nurturing a relationship with the jailed singer, prevailed. Oh. When Kelly was talking about getting rid of us, says Greenberg, he was like, man, people are sending me stuff from the internet. You're not doing this and you're not doing that. And I'm not. And I'm like, I don't give a shit what the internet says. The internet ain't on your jury. Now we know who struck. I'm going to read that again. When Kelly was talking about getting rid of us, says Greenberg, he was like, man, people are sending me stuff from the internet. Who's sending him stuff from the internet? You're not doing this and you're not doing that. And I'm like, I don't give a shit what the internet says. The internet ain't on your jury. We all know who that was, right? Those people over there. The source close to the case agrees with Greenberg's assessment. He was very focused on how he looked and how witnesses looked. That they should be discredited, put in their place, the source explains. Ultimately, it was this difference of opinion between lawyers that led to Greenberg and Leonard leaving the case. Whatever you think of Kelly, Tom and Nicole played with his life in an effort to promote themselves, Greenberg said. They effed him over. R. Kelly's YouTube channels are terminated, okay? The details of the two attorneys' withdrawal were messy. According to Becker, Greenberg and Leonard verbally attacked her. Kelly was scared of having Greenberg on his team and subsequently fired him because of his lies. But the public record shows Greenberg and Leonard filed a request to leave on their own violation, and Judge Ann M. Donnelly accepted their withdrawal in early June. Becker takes issue with this, saying nobody withdraws because they were led in a case and can't deal with those under them. That doesn't even make sense. I felt what happens when people flat out lie and tell you the sky is orange when you know it's blue. She says of Greenberg and Leonard's narrative, and the judge ate it up. Greenberg, on the other hand, blames Becker for the defense team's internal conflict. She wanted to be the big star, front and center all the time. He says he doesn't have kind words for Fernella either. The attorney's license to practice was suspended for 2 years in 2011. At the time, Fernella claimed he was suffering from a mental infirmity and therefore could not defend himself in disciplinary proceedings pending against him. Because of these past issues, Greenberg describes him as incompetent and incapable of doing any heavy lifting. My mental health problems from over a decade ago and the resulting disciplinary matter have nothing to do with this case or my ability to effectively and competently represent Mr. Kelly, said Fernella in a statement to the press in July. R. Kelly's publishing catalog is for sale, but what's it worth? With the only lawyers with federal trial experience of Kelly's New York case, Becker took charge. And early on, at least, she seemed to be releasing, and the And she seemed to be relishing in the attention. Many of Kelly's supporters see her as a hero, defending an innocent man being persecuted by bitter exes and the media. Before and after trial proceedings, fans would make a beeline for Becker and offer words of encouragement and admiration. We also know who that was. So without saying names, if you know the actions, it show up in the paper. Professionally, she tried to make the most of her role, emailing journalists who mentioned her in stories to request that they link to her firm's website. Oh my God. Becker has her fair share of critics too. In the media, she accused of weaponizing her womanhood against other women and characterized by former colleagues as an inexperienced attorney wanting to be the center of attention. And according to Becker herself, some even went as far as to suggest she is sleeping with Kelly. All of this media attention, Becker said she blocks it out. What's the saying? She told Billboard days before the trial started, all press is good press. Disorder in the courtroom. On the morning of August 18th, journalists, photographers, fans, and a few confused jurors gathered outside the Brooklyn Federal Courthouse hoping to get inside for opening statements. Hold on, wait a minute. What? On the morning of August the 18th, journalists, photographers, fans, and a few confused jurors. Am I the only one that caught that? Am I the only one that caught that? I'm going to say it again. On the morning of August the 18th, journalists, photographers, fans, and a few confused jurors gathered outside the Brooklyn Federal Courthouse hoping to get inside for opening statements. Hold your calls. Hold your calls. Kelly's fans, some of whom took weeks off of work to attend the 8-hour days of trial, told brow-raising lies to security officers in hope of betting their chances to get inside the courthouse. Are you a juror? An officer asked a short, middle-aged woman in striped pants. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't know who this Texas-made legend is, but Mars, get him out my chat. Whoever this Texas-made legend is, get him out my chat. And we don't play these games over here. We're about growing and learning over here. Kelly's fans, some of whom took weeks off of work to attend the 8-hour days of trial, told brow-raising lies to security. Are you a juror? An officer asked a short, middle-aged woman in striped pants. We all know who that was. And we all know who that is. Hey, Miss Shirley. We all know who that was. And we all know who that is. So let me get this right. We all know who the middle-aged lady that's kind of short with striped pants are. And we all know who that is. Yes, Az is now signed to Sony. Yes. So we all know who that is. And I'm not saying the name, Felicia. Miss Felicia Fee. I'm not saying the name. But I'm going to say this. She was on the Boski community wall with the striped pants. She said, yes, I'm on the jury. She hesitantly replied in a slight southern drawl. So y'all don't know who that is? Okay. I hate to do this. Let's hold that point. Here's what I'm going to do. Because I told y'all, I'm not saying no names, but what you do in the dark is going to come out in the light. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. Oh, we. Hold on, because there's so much stuff I want to show you over here. That's why I ain't want to come this far over this. So. Okay. Hold that thought. Almost there. Almost there. I surely can use a chicken box right now. Did I take it down? I think I took it down. Hold on. I'm gonna get this for you. I think I took it down. Well, I passed it, one of the other two. Okay, that's bed bug. What's that before? Me and T-Baby battled. Yeah, it was. Let me go back some more. Okay, what's this? Okay. 9 months ago. It wasn't 9 months ago. I don't think. No, that's when they was talking Paula. No, it wasn't 9 months ago. Alright, well, y'all know who the short lady is. For that run the channel, for that be saying the prayers but then being the messy stuff. Y'all know who that is. She was the short lady that had the pinstripe pants on. So now y'all know who it is. But I want to show y'all something. When they talked about the R. Kelly underage situation, when they talked about that, I don't know why it's not on here. I wonder if they reported it. Right before we go back into the story, when they talked about the press situation with R. Kelly, I'm gonna show y'all. She had on this outfit at a different time, but it was this lady right here. It was this lady. This lady right here. It was that lady. So now y'all know who I'm talking about? That shows up in the paperwork. But I wonder, Dana doing so much wrong, but Dana never shows up in paperwork. How is that? How is that Dana never shows up in nobody paperwork? This is sad. Alright. Here's what I want to show you. Damon Pryor. Right? This is when he was dealing with Lisa. So now you're going to tell me that that's R. Kelly? Now you want to tell me that's R. Kelly? Now you're going to say that that's R. Kelly. But this is clearly Lisa Van Allen. This is clearly Damon Pryor. So, that's R. Kelly now? That they had to get somebody that had the same build, the same physique, the same likeness. The same build, same physique, the same likeness. Everything I told y'all, Lisa was stacked back then, just like her daughter look right now. Right? Okay. So with that being said, when I came out and first told everybody that, people was like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. Yeah, I'm telling you who it was. So Kelly fans, some of whom took weeks off of work to attend the 8-hour days of trial, told the brow-raising lies to security officers in hopes of bettering their chances to get inside the courthouse. Are you a juror? An officer asked a short, middle-aged woman in striped pants. Yes, I'm on the jury. She hesitantly replied in a slight southern drawl. She turned out to be a fan, who later that day delivered a fervent speech about Kelly's innocence outside the courthouse to a dozen scoop-hungry cameramen and broadcasters and reporters, forming a crescent around her and other Kelly supporters. How many women have lied to you? She asked, as the two women behind her slowly nodded their heads in agreement. How many women have said, oh, I don't want you no more, but now I'm going to get you in trouble? R. Kelly guilty verdict. Black women see long overdue justice. It would almost seem that Becker took notes from these passionate fans when writing her opening statement, instead of driving home the point that Kelly was not running a criminal enterprise. The bedrock of the racketeering charge, she spent most of her 2-hour statement discrediting witnesses' testimonies. She painted victims to be bitter exes out for revenge, called them groupies and superfans, and stressed that Kelly and his girlfriends were all like family with beautiful relationships. Seemingly searching for words or just buying time, Becca addressed the jury as ladies and gentlemen over 100 times, while stumbling through an almost comical number of sustained objections from the prosecution, interruptions from Judge Donnelly, and other blunders of her own doing. You ultimately will have to find Mr. Kelly guilty, she said in her closing before correcting herself. Excuse me, not guilty. What the fuck? You ultimately will have to find Mr. Kelly guilty, she said in her closing before correcting herself. Excuse me, not guilty. Wow. Things only got worse for the defense. It took the prosecution 4 weeks to make its case against Kelly, calling 50 witnesses, including former assistants, his doctor, tour managers, engineers, victims, an expert on interpersonal violence, records custodians, and Illinois clerk office employee and Homeland Security agents, among others. One by one, they delivered cohesive testimony, while the defense cross-examinations, which Becker said would be as simple as 1 + 1 = 2, were sometimes so convoluted that reporters questioned whether it was a tactic to confuse jurors and witnesses. And while Becker remained at Kelly's side every day, the two whispering to each other frequently throughout testimonies, she slowly faded into the background of the defense, with Canick taking on key witnesses. Why has R. Kelly been in jail for the past year? Canick, a trial lawyer with federal experience, joined Kelly's defense team on June the 21st, along with attorney Calvin Scholar. 2 weeks after Greenberg and Linda's departure, according to Greenberg, Canick did not find Becker and Farinella cooperative. I talked to Canick a few times. I was trying to help them. Greenberg says Becker and Farinella tried to freeze him out of discovery materials, and he reached out to me to get them. Canick did not respond to multiple requests for comment. According to the anonymous source, Canick grew frustrated with Becker and Farinella's approach and work ethic, just as Greenberg and Linda had. It was two separate teams. He basically wouldn't speak to them as the trial went on. Also, he wouldn't give them any witnesses to question, which was smart, but makes it hard for one guy to try the case. Facts, as I said. In some instances, Kelly legal quartet did sow doubt with the jurors, while cross-examining Kelly's victims and former employees. They firmly established that in many scenarios, the women could have willingly walked out of his homes, studios, and tour buses, undermining claims that they were being held by Kelly against their will. Canick drew attention to lies told by victims to their parents or Kelly himself, attempting to discredit their damning testimonies. But in other moments, Becker and Canick resorted to victim blaming, claiming the women knew what they were getting themselves into, as Becker put it, and critiquing their dance moves and wardrobe choices as teenagers. Another time, Canick berated a key witness in Geronda Pace, accusing her of lying to the jury about her age at first sexual encounter with Kelly. But I thought she had sex with Kelly. Accused her of lying to the jury about her age at first sexual encounter with Kelly. As he paced back and forth, raising his voice to theatrical levels and reminding Pace that she was under oath, it was his own math about her age that turned out to be wrong. When Canick, who is black, later suggested that Pace was lying about never having attended a party with loud music because she's black, he was quickly shut down. Come on, Mr. Canick. Donnelly said after the prosecution sustained objection, move along. A judge can't do that. But they can, but they not supposed to. Trial attorney Philip C. Hamilton, managing partner at Hamilton Clark LLP, who is not involved with Kelly's case, questioned the defense approach to witnesses. Trial is theater, says Hamilton. The jury is now sympathizing with witnesses because of the way that you are ineffectively beating them up. I'm not really hearing any sympathy for Kelly here. And as a defense attorney, at encouraging sympathy is damn near malpractice. R. Kelly's I Believe I Can Fly horrifies mourners at Saturday Night Live funeral sketch. I don't want to read that. I really don't want to read that. Who cares about Saturday Night Live? R. Kelly says he won't testify at his sex trafficking trial. Most of the people that will testify are not going to see themselves as criminals or members of an enterprise. They're going to see themselves as stage managers and lighting people with no criminal objective. All of that gives you a great chance to win this case, says Leonard. Instead, the grotesque testimonies and evidence of alleged sexual and physical abuse overshadowed the sparse efforts to disprove that Kelly was knowingly running a criminal enterprise. His defense didn't file a single motion to restrict the government's presentation of evidence, adds Greenberg. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. So you can't say they didn't. You didn't either. If a girl was held in a room for 3 days because R. Kelly wanted to have sex with her, what difference does it make if when he ultimately had sex with her, they did it backwards, forwards, upside down, and inside out? It doesn't make any difference because the allegations was that she was being held in that room. Instead, the defense cross-examinations focused whether or not there was food inside tour buses and studios. What witnesses wore during sex with Kelly, voluntary twerking, and proving there weren't buckets of urine in Kelly's bedroom, not breaking down the government's claim that Kelly was the head of an ongoing criminal enterprise. It is not the documentary, says Leonard, of the charges. It's a RICO case. But the documentary had a lot to do with him getting a RICO case. Make it make sense. In a joint statement to Billboard after the verdict, Becca and Farinello, who both denied Greenberg's allegations, said, "Unfortunately, we are unable to respond at this time, but there will be an appropriate time and manner in which the truth will be told in the future." While sentencing for Kelly's New York charges won't happen until May the 4th, 2022. The next major milestone in his legal saga comes October the 20th in Chicago. That's when a conference hearing for his federal charges on aggravated criminal sexual abuse will determine the next steps in that case. Greenberg and Leonard are still set to defend Kelly in Chicago, but as a result of the legal turmoil, their relationship has suffered. Greenberg says his relationship with the singer needs a lot of work and that he no longer thinks he's the right person to represent Kelly. I haven't talked to Robert in months. He completely refused to speak to us. He says, still, Greenberg says he will likely visit Kelly in New York in coming weeks to work out the next steps for the upcoming case. The Chicago case probably won't ever go to trial, he adds. We'll work out a concurrent plea or something like that. He's going to get launched. Judge Donnelly is going to make sure he never gets out of jail. What? Oh, Jesus Christ. The Chicago case probably won't ever go to trial, he adds. We'll work out a concurrent plea or something like that. He's going to get launched. Judge Donnelly is going to make sure he never gets out of jail. I can't believe Greenberg would even say some shit like this. A concurrent plea? It's a drastic change from 2018 when Kelly first hired Greenberg to their focus was reclaiming the singer's money. You know, Kelly's last public performance was at my house, he says, from his Hawaii hotel room, like 2 weeks before he got arrested on these charges. It was a going-away party for Greenberg at his home in Highland Park, Illinois. And Kelly sang with a band for 3 hours, hung out with Greenberg's mom, and even brought along his pet Pomeranian and Belief, named after his 1996 hit single, I Believe I Can Fly. That lasted 42 weeks on the Hot 100 chart. Greenberg says, I was very fond of him. No, she won't be the appeal judge. I'm going to say this. This concludes part 1. I'm going to end this live and come right back with part 2. So, I'm going to say this. When I end this live, y'all just come right back in when I come back in, okay? I'm coming right back in. All right? You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Be someone important. Be yourself. Until next time, DanaJay gonna say, I'll be back soon. Peace.
Say it louder, what you gon' do now? Hope you're ready, cause I'm really about to put it down. Girl, you know that I will never disrespect you. We love tomorrow, but tonight I wanna spend you. That ass, girl, gotta make it last, girl. Also, then I'ma beat it up.
I don't like to waste time on stupid conversation. There's no profit in that. So if I'm around people that are always complaining with no solutions, then I'm wasting real estate in my brain for what I need to project. And what I project in my brain is what I project in my reality. So that real estate only has to be for evolution, things that are going to help me get where I got to go. You understand? Help me evolve. So if my conversation with you makes me stagnate, we don't have too much conversation either. I don't have no time for no stupid ass conversation.
It don't matter what the judge say. It don't matter what the jury say. It don't matter what they say. It don't matter what lifetime chopped and screwed show you, because your freedom comes from God anyway. September 27th, the verdict of Robert Sylvester Kelly, manufacturer case number 19-CR-286. Robert Sylvester Kelly, known as R. Kelly, and the verdict came back guilty. It took 9 hours, 18 minutes, which was the time the jury took out of desperation. R. Kelly's case is in a federal courtroom, and the prosecutors never proved any federal offenses. Everyone's moving off of emotions. So I call Exhibit A, police reports. Exhibit B, rape kits. R. Kelly was employed by Sony Music. The music label promoted, facilitated, and established him as a playboy and a sex symbol. We ordered Sony to be a part of this case. We ordered Sony to release his music catalog, which is worth over $1.2 billion. You will not give R. Kelly the Sam Cooke treatment. And we are well aware that there are no more record stores. So masters equal income. Question, what do Sam Cooke, Michael Jackson, Prince, and R. Kelly got in common? Question, what is the difference between R. Kelly and Hugh Hefner? Why not Harvey Weinstein? Why not Marilyn Manson? Why not Roman Polanski? And why not Woody Allen? Now it is clear that Robert Sylvester Kelly case is systematic racism. Attorney Cannick proved in the court of law that Kelly girlfriends stuck around to live the lavish lifestyle and enjoy shopping sprees. Women came and went right out of Kel's front door. For example, Holly, she testified she came back 12 times. right on the stand. So I'm tired of the mute R. Kelly. I'm tired of the Me Too and any other groups that's focused on one black man, and that is R. Kelly. So why don't you go after Elvis Presley estate? My question, why didn't United States put Aaliyah mother on the stand? Question, why wasn't the parents allowed on the stand? People are so hypocritical, always canceling the person they hate, which is R. Kelly. It don't matter what the judge say. It don't matter what the jury say. It don't matter what.
Yeah, what's up? This your homeboy Ice Cube. You know what it is, the West Coast Warlord, the Grand Wizard. Don Mega is in the house. Now check this out. I'm inviting you to join the official Black People Social Network, WeGotUps.com. That's WeGotUps.com. 100% black owned, man. I see you, Hill Boys. I see you. You out there doing it, man. And as we say in the Big 3 League, we got ups, baby. So WeGotUps.com. Check it out, man. You know what I mean? Obviously, black people, we definitely need to socialize, get together, figure out this system we all going through. So, WeGotUps.com promises to be that place. Like I said, black owned. Gotta love it. And, willing to make sure that you guys make a social connection. So, WeGotUps.com, from your homeboy Ice Cube. Got to throw up the dub, for that. You know what I'm saying? And, hey, man, official Black People Social Network. I get it right. Don't worry about nothing. Just join, man. Join the official Black People Social Network. WeGotUps.com. WeGotUps.com, man. That's easy, man. We got ups, baby. We got ups. Your homeboy Ice Cube, and I'm out. Throwing up the dub for We Got Ups, man. Check it out.
Man, meet me over there. Official DanaJay. WeGotUps.com. See you next time.